Ruislip is a London suburb, some 12 miles west-northwest of London City. Just to the south of Ruislip is Northolt Aerodrome, which is itself about 6 miles north of Heathrow. Northolt Aerodrome opened in 1915 as a Royal Flying Corps station and is still open as RAF Northolt. Nowadays it's used for government VIP flights, and civilian business jets use the airfield as well. During the 1940s, whilst Heathrow Airport was being constructed, Northolt was used for commercial airline flights. One of the airlines based at Northolt was Railway Air Services. Railway Air Services was formed in 1934 by the four big railway companies and Imperial Airways. Initially operating Dragon Rapides and de Havilland Express airliners, by the end of the Second World War they were operating a fleet of Dakotas and one solitary Junkers 52. On the 19th of December 1946, aircraft George Zebra Able was prepared for a flight to Glasgow. On board was the captain, co-pilot, radio operator, air stewardess and one staff passenger. It was cold and had been snowing heavily, but the aircraft was brushed clean of snow before taxiing out. However, on reaching the holding point there was a delay and the aircraft sat, engines idling, whilst the snow fell heavily. At last they got cleared for takeoff, and Captain Johnson lined the aircraft up on runway 08 and they departed to the east. The aircraft lifted off from the runway, but struggled to climb due to the amount of snow that had frozen onto the wings and tail. They narrowly missed the officers' quarters, railway line and depot beyond, but the port wingtip caught the roof of number 50 and 52 Angus Drive, sliced the roof off of number 48 Angus Drive, and the aircraft came to a shuddering halt, turned through 90 degrees on the roof of number 44 and 46. Somewhat astonishingly, no one was hurt. A young mother, David Zigmund, was in number 44 and her young son, David, 4 months old, was asleep upstairs. He wasn't woken. The radio operator had been standing between the pilot's seats, contrary to company policy, which was lucky because one of the propeller blades came straight through the fuselage and would have killed him had he been sitting in his crew seat. The crew climbed out of an emergency exit, down through the roof of the building to the upper floor, down the stairs and exited by the front door of number 46. Poor old Zebra Able was a write-off, and ironically far more damage was done to the house removing the wrecked aeroplane than was done in the landing itself. The crew received no punishment for what had happened, and in fact Railway Air Services were absorbed into British European Airways shortly afterwards, and Captain Johnson became a training captain, although he had to live with the nickname Rooftops for the rest of his career. Winter operations, de-icing and anti-icing has progressed quite a lot since 1946. It's accidents like this that remind us why we do our winter ops course, nauseating though it may be every year. Incidentally, number 46 Angus Drive was owned by the Levene family from 1946 until 2021, when their son, who owned the property, died. The house was called for many years Dakota's Rest.